When I got married, I smiled so much I had to stop. I almost pulled a grin muscle. In fact, there are 2 pictures of it. One of me looking like the happiest puppy at the dog park. The second like I am repulsed by some raunchy smell that's pervaded that sacred space. A twitchy person like me tends to have a lot more of the latter type of faces, regardless of how I'm feeling on the inside. But as a twitchy teacher, that adds an extra layer of complications to most situations. Students see a cycle of my elastic grimaces and might assume I'm upset, when really, I'm overjoyed. It's just tough to tell the difference sometimes, looking only at my face. To counter this, I started smiling, all the time. Made a broad grin my default. No more resting sad face. And confirming the wisdom of mothers everywhere, I made that face for so long, it did stick. Now I've got a bit of a smirk plastered on permanently. And, what was quite shocking, for me, a person without a lot of problems, living my best life, for me, smiling on the outside has led to smiling on the inside. I've become the happier and more content version of myself without really even intending it. And so, clearly for me now, having gotten a bit of rough news, I've responded by coping with those losses in ways that probably should not have a big smile plastered on. And yet, there it is. Most of the time. This new tear-streaked, grim-faced paradigm takes some getting used to, in ways my body needs to adjust to, inside and out. The one who tries so hard to be happy, now just feels sad. Regardless of the face I might be making. My face looks happy, but I'm not. Not always. But despite this new heaviness, these new shadows and frowns, I'm doing okay. Most days, shockingly so. I feel this myself a wonder when traversing these seas of sorrow, past inlets of grief, ripe with potential disasters lurking about, hidden traumas and sneaky despairs that might upend my boat at any time. Why do I always navigate these emotional rapids with nary a scratch? Why am I doing so well? It isn't just my face. Inside too. I feel like I must have somehow cheated somehow snuck a peek at the owner's manual for this goddamn ship of woes. And somehow learned how to redirect it from its ill-omened fate. How else to explain it? Having never before held my hand to a tiller or stretched my fingers around an oar, yet for the first moment, each movement felt practiced and assured, like the learned experiences of 1,000 lifetimes is guiding my strokes, setting the course, and providing solace within the blackest nights and the loneliest days. With a heart of lightness, eyes on the horizon, this is how I go. My face looks happy, and I am. It hasn't always been this easy. Like any athlete, it takes practice. More for me and my lack of body awareness, I had to learn the hard way. Tossed into bays of depression and anxiety, laden with heavy clothes and heavy thoughts, forced to find an escape, to figure out which star to follow in a confounding galaxy of coping mechanism constellations and contradictory maps of mental health strategies. But somehow, I made it. Sucked down to watery hell and back again. Through misery and joy, terror and euphoria, I made it. How did I do it? Hard to put into words, but I'll do my best. Long before it was a given that my emotional instincts were in fact reliable and healthy, where if I followed the route my gut said to, everything seemed to turn out alright. As I journeyed up the coast of life, I'd come close to disasters at times, trying to discern red herrings from rainbow trout, red flags from green lights, red tides from blue waters. Choices made all the more harrowing by the colorblindness, which stricken not just my eyes, but my thoughts as well. Stuck so deep in the groove of my red, green, blues, left me unable to pinpoint just which hues to heed, which shades to be afraid of, when I drop my map in the water, again, or bang my head with a paddle, again. Are those signs to be mindful of? Twitches of truth, betraying fearful genetic shallows, roiling with unseen catastrophes? Or has the voice in my head merely been in the sun too long? I'd adjust my compass for it too early to tell, and found the waters rather gentle and inviting. But as the days blurred to years, the route began to narrow, The storms began to harrow far, far, far worse than anything I'd overcome yet. At first, I'd follow the mantra, deny, deny, and carry on, deny, deny, and carry on, deny, deny, and damn it, carry on, with no reason to believe it wasn't true. But as that route became every day a danger, and every day a doubt, every day felt stranger, with every day about, a crushing maniacal helplessness paired with heaving, shallow breath fits of mournful anxiety. Impossible not to see, impossible not to know, impossible not to admit what truth had been inside me all along. I'd started that trip, my first solo voyage, with such a clear idea of what to do, where to go, what to fear and what to dismiss. But now, I see this for what it is. A fool's errand, not captained by those twins, wisdom and insight, or even luck and perseverance, but instead, I've been bamboozled by that damn trio of D, N, and A. Such malevolent leviathans have been in charge since the start. Every stroke, every choice, every course correction was not, as I thought, my own brilliance on display, but rather their twisted influence on everything. As I began to unravel all the implications and ramifications, I was gutted by just how stupid I'd been. I puked my guts out, considered cutting my guts out, giving up right then and there, for I had come so far in the wrong direction. Who knew? Where to go now? Who to trust? Not myself. And so now, my mind awash in crimson, felt like time to re-examine my headings before losing my head entirely. I've been certain that the journey would be packed with good times in the high seas, since that the wildest adventures surely still lay ahead. But now, of each dip of the oar to these bitter waters, surfaced a bleak retinue of companions to co-op my vessel. Numbness, depression, disillusionment, anger. All aboard on a journey now, hardly seems worth salvaging. There seemed to be no answer that might settle the storm within me. And so, with nowhere to go but onward, perilous and fraught that might be, I had to face these hijackers head on. Come to terms with these blackest of thoughts before they threw me overboard. I related this tale so casually, for their safety in sharing from a bit of a distance. But then, in the midst of all this fire upheaval, it was a torturous ordeal. I fancied myself a storyteller, but it became painfully obvious my story is being told. And it is fucking dark. No sitcom. Just a horrific cautionary tale, getting pursued by nameless beasts, backed into corners, hackles raised, all claws and teeth, naked and battered, pushed to the absolute limit. I was in one of those movies based on a true story. But it was my story. It's my fucking story. That drove the dastardly plot. And that was all I had to learn from, to live with, and to get over. And it was a rough fucking ride, let me tell you. I often feel so damn principled, so put together, so steady at the wheel, so sure of where I am and where I'm headed. But why do I always have to be the adult in the room? Sometimes I wish I wasn't so principled and so mature. But that's not really true either. I wish that, but honestly, I like my principles. I stick to them for a reason. It just means that so much of what I want to say, so much of what I want to write, has been self-censored. All questionable or unseemly details scrubbed from the records to craft a carefully curated image in the name of posterity. A bit of selfish self-editing to ensure that if I were in fact to one day not return, to point my kayak at the horizon and see how far I make it, that you'd remember my principles, my legends, my myths, myself, my version The one available already, like I left like crumbs from songs from decades ago. Me and my spooky prescience, predicting my own future with haunting accuracy. To me, it's been obvious the whole time. I always had a resonance in me. I look at her and think, oh yeah, we're the same. We're the same genetic color. It wasn't even that weird. It made grim, perfect, obvious sense. Thus the principles. Thus the crumbs. And thus the guilt. And the grief. But it turns out I was good at that too. I had previous experience on my resume for the coping with trauma position. As a kid, I felt already quite handicapped. With Tourette's and OCD, weird, twitchy, noisy, repetitive shit. I actually watched kids on TV that had it too. I thought they were so fucking weird. But in the end, I'm the king weirdo. My genes have all that and a free simmering pot of mutinous neurons guaranteed to dissolve into a puddle of mush, gradually enough so you can feel the mushification. Slabs of sickening and muddy gray matter atop the shit genetic sandwich. I win! But it's the worst goddamn contest. When I found out I had Tourette's, I hated the testing. Sitting in weirdly dark, creepily lofts of strangers asked me if I wanted to kill myself. I said no. Now, it's a much different question. But so far, the answer's been remarkably similar. Before I had Tourette's, but not the fun kind, I didn't know why I was coughing and twitching, evening out, poking things. Mostly just taking up so much space in the world. So it gave me this overwhelming sense of relief and confidence to know just what it was that I had. To me, naming it was a powerful super weapon, allowing for specifically targeted countermeasures. Now it's the same. I have a new disease, definitely not the fun kind, but that same sense of peace and acceptance filled me from head to toe. For the first time in a long time, I couldn't stop smiling. Well, I expected to feel terrible for confirming the difference, for knowing the names and best before dates, and for being an overachiever, even on the genetic tests. Now, I feel fine. Most of the time. Writing about like this, being useful to science, these are all positive things that make me feel useful, not ashamed. And I use my goddamn principles to avoid depression, to avoid bucket listing too much, to avoid missing out on the time I have left. Maybe that's okay. That being said, walking off the field, retiring early, this metaphor means a lot now. To reduce the need to produce, to excel, to strive for anything, because I'm pseudo-retired already. And then I remember tears welling up. I'm 34 goddamn years old. I'm in my prime. I should be getting started. I don't want to be at my death expected already. I really don't. That still hurts. It still stings. It's a raw goddamn wound to overcome. And those hard facts, once thought, can't be unthought. Or especially undone. I've peaked, and that fucking sucks. That's why my practicum mattered so much. Because I knew it wasn't the start. It was the end. It wasn't a prep class, it was my final exam. I'm a great teacher. I really am. I really knew it. I really, really, really wanted other people to know it too. And now they do. It's been confirmed. My years of overachieving and reflecting, studying and growing, trying so hard. Me and my principals, we stuck the landing. Best practicum ever. All the superlatives I'd ever wanted and more. People talked about me and pointed. They had never seen anyone like me. Dedicated, committed, friendly, smiling. All true, but nice to hear out loud. I genuinely love teaching, and I proved it. Finished strong. Gold medal, gold star, 10 out of 10. But that was it. It's over now. I'm over now. And that really goddamn sucks.